Action! Activate!
Here we come, there they go. Evil runs, 'cause they know we're super soldiers. We got cool clothes. You real smooth when you see our pose. Action, energize, mask on. Time to ride. Combine, grease ties.
Hello, welcome back. It's Action Activate. I am the Gazbot Knight, and with me, as always,
The Dawg Defender.
well, Bigdawg, I have to say you're looking good today. You're not pixelated. You're not frozen. You're not late. Everything's working good.
Well, thank you. I, got to get it right at least once. So
Okay.
glad it all lined up today.
Excellent. Well, we'll just assume that Evox and all other evil is defeated for all of time, and we could just forget all about it.
Yeah, I'm hoping as well.
Well, thank you everyone for checking us out. Hello to the Real Babu and Matt Kendall Clare and everybody else that's in chat live, and those that are watching after the fact, of course, welcome as well. Today, we've talked about reviewing another vintage episode, and we probably will do that again in the future while we're on hiatus here. But we decided to do another sort of game interactive thing like we've done before. Do you want to tell everybody what we decided to do?
Yes, I actually have a two-parter for what we're doing. So we today are talking about the Hasbro Lightning Collection Power Ranger figures. So with that, I actually have an example in front of me. This is Tommy as the White Ranger, and
Hi-yo.
this is what we're talking about. So Wave 1 already been released. He is part of Wave 1. Wave 2 has been announced, but Wave 3 we're not too sure yet. So we're going to do some speculation and some picks on who we think is going to be in that wave. But also what I wanted to do is kind of give a little history of Power Ranger figures for those that are unfamiliar.
I didn't even know this.
I know, so that's why I took an extra minute. So obviously this is the most recent of what we're getting from Power Ranger figures. So here is the 6-inch multi-posable accessory filled Lightning Collection figure. And then kind of going backwards in time, here is a Roxy figure known as a basic figure, usually around the $10 mark. The Lightning Collection is around 20, and a little bit different scale, pretty close, but not exactly
Now,
right.
regarding scale, I remember thinking that they were both 6-inch scale, but then when they
Mhm.
came out, they're not actually quite the same scale. Which one's taller or?
So actually, hang on.
Yeah.
They're actually about the same. Let me see if I can tilt the camera and not ruin everything.
Well, I guess the question is, what I had originally hoped for Beast Morphers specifically was that with the basic collection, you could kind of get all the figures for cheaper, and then your favorites you could maybe get in the Lightning Collection for a little bit more expensive, and they would fit together.
Yeah.
But looking at those, they don't seem exactly right. It does seem like Tommy's a bit taller, and I don't know that he should be.
He is slightly taller, and I think the proportions are different. It looks to me like the limbs are skinnier. Also, I have a female figure, so that may be part of the reason why, but not 100% sure. I mean, if you put them at a distance, obviously they're going to
Sure.
be fine, but up close, I think, is when you're going to really notice.
It might depend
those-
on how much of a nitpicker you are. Like, it really bothers me, but maybe other people not so much. All
Mhm.
right, sorry to
And then-
interrupt. Please go.
No, you're fine. Another thing, actually, good segue for scale, is a previous iteration was the legacy figures, and I have one right here for comparison. As
Right.
you can see, a little bit taller and bulkier.
More muscular, certainly.
Yeah, for sure, than the current iterations we're getting. Also, one thing they had as well was Build-A-Zords. So I have, why is this not working? There we go. Have an example, another Tommy related Zord right here. So scale wise, obviously they're bigger, but not as big as it should be for a Zord.
Right.
And then depending on how big of a collector you are or what kind of scale you have, this is an SH Figure Arts White Ranger. So
Right.
you can see here, obviously very close to the Sentai in terms of proportions, color, likeness, etc. But in terms of scale, a little bit shorter, a little bit skinnier,
Right.
but pretty reasonable depending on how you want to put them together. I know with
They-
SPD Shadow Ranger, people have done that with their SPD Figure Arts.
Well, and those two are a really good comparison because up until now, SH Figure Arts Bandai Japan has been like kind of the gold standard of any
Benchmark.
Sentai / Power Rangers, and they had the most diversity of teams as opposed to just Mighty Morphin. But with the Lightning Collection, some people are calling it SH Figure Arts Killer, which is ironic considering Figure Arts haven't put out any Sentai Power Ranger figures in like a year or two. So even if I do still think the Japanese figures are better, but they're not necessarily $40 better because those would retail maybe as much as $60 versus $20. And the fact that they're no longer making them is also a big, so I could see a lot of people trading in their SH Figure Arts for the new line for that reason.
And especially, I mean, direct comparison with the White Rangers, they just released a White Ranger with an unmasked head,
Right.
and it's getting as low as $30, which is just slightly higher than the American version, which really shows, especially for that Ranger suit specifically, how much people are preferring the Americans, it seems.
Yeah.
One final kind of throw in, which I'll tie into the list later for those of you that are going to continue to listen. This is from the Super Legends line. This is the Green Ranger. It's a little more in scale with the figure arts.
Right.
Actually, almost perfectly in scale with the figure arts, but obviously a little bit smaller than the Lightning Collection. And one of the figures that I might put on the list, I actually have from this scale. So just a little.
Well, we'll get into that more, but there are definitely, I also have some, Legend figures?
Super Legends.
Super Legends. I have, in my SH Figure Art display, I have a Super Legend or two that are pretty passable in there. All right, so...
Hi, Matt Kendall-Clare and Real Babu. Good to see you guys.
All right, so you kind of gave your history, and we didn't go all the way back, but recent history, which I appreciate. More the collector's lines more than anything else. What I wanted to do before we get into, like, what we're going to do is we're going to draft our dream picks for the next 6 figures. And after that, if we have time, we're going to try to guess what they'll actually give, and then we'd be more interested in your input. I mean, obviously, you could tell us what you're interested in, but everybody's got a million, I think Matt Kendall-Clare on the Facebook page was like, here's 20, and I could list 1,000 more, and we all could. Because basically, we all would like every character from every season ever, I think is really what it is.
In the same scale.
In the same scale, yes. But realistically, we have to pick favorites in this. You and I right now are basically picking our top 6, and we'll get into how we chose that. But when we're done, assuming we have time, we're going to, with the help of the group, pick the 6 that we think are most likely to actually come out in the next wave. So let me turn off this slideshow. And what I did is I have the history of the Lightning Collection, which is not nearly as big. So here we have Wave 1. And in Wave 1, as you said, we had Tommy. We got Tyler from Dino Charge. We got Shadow Ranger, and we got Zed. And these were all pretty good picks, and the reason I'm looking into this is a Mighty Morphin. You almost always are going to have a Mighty Morphin in any line, at least to start. You had Tommy, but Zed is, like, a lot of people are more excited about Tommy, like the casual fan, sure, but Zed is the one that most of us are like, wow, a good Zed finally. Shadow Ranger is a little bit more of a deep cut, and then Dino Charge is more modern for, like, the more modern fan, the younger kids or whatever, or people like me who like that Red Ranger, even though I'm not a big Red Ranger guy. So then the next thing that was announced was Goldar, which is a GameStop exclusive. So it's a completely original mold. It's not a reuse, and it's a villain. So the thought is when we're choosing, we're gonna, even though the waves come in 4, we're gonna allow ourselves 6 picks. The first 4 could kind of be anything because those are the new ones. The GameStop one, mold-wise, could be anything, but you might want to keep in mind that maybe it wouldn't be someone like the Green Ranger that everyone's gonna want. Goldar's popular, but you could theoretically have your collection without him, and that'd be fine. Real Babu says Babu with a removable head and me underneath. I would pay extra for that. That would be a great con exclusive that you could only buy at your table.
Yep.
So
or you just sell the custom heads.
There you go. Oh, that's genius right there, actually.
There you go.
So after Goldar, they then announced the 2-pack of Zeo Gold and Dragon Shield Red for San Diego. Now, both of these may come with extra accessories, but we know we're going to see them single packed. So these are kind of variants. They're not anything that crazy. And then most recently, we got Dragon Shield Zack, which is a Walgreens exclusive. Same thing. Even though we haven't gotten Zack yet, and we do know this is Zack, not Adam, because of the head that it comes with. Basically, he has maybe the effect part is different, and the Dragon Shield is different, but there will be a vanilla standard Zack available. So with that in mind, we're gonna go through our picks for 6 each. And let me bring up. I built a little. Where we go. There it is. So the top row is going to be me, and the bottom row is going to be the Bigdawg. And so the first 4 could basically be anything we want, and then the next 2 are the 2 exclusives. And what we're going to try to do is one exclusive. It could be an original mold, but it shouldn't be a main character that everybody's going to want. And the other one should be like the Walgreens exclusive, where it'll be a variation of a figure that either they already came out with or will come out with again. Okay, and let me check chat real quick. Matt Kendall Clare, Lord Zed's lightning figure was so awesome, not just because of the tubes that aren't molded into the body, but also the growth grenade. I agree. The growth grenade was cool, but the tubes is what really sold it for me. And I've seen some people take the chrome pens, I forget what they're called, and do the silver all chrome, and that looks really, really nice if you have that kind of instinct. Okay, so now with the kind of the guidelines set, I picked mine, and I had time to pick mine, so I went through and already grabbed my photos. So what's going to happen is when I pick, I'll throw it up almost immediately, and then when Bigdawg picks, because we didn't want to spoil a surprise and arguments and debate, I'm going to have to quick look online like we did with the alignment chart. So that being said, would you like to go first, or you want me to go first?
I would love for you to go first.
Okay. Well, the way I did it, and you can talk about how you approached it, I just thought of seasons in order in my head. I didn't like go and do research, just what comes to mind. And so some that came into my head that I didn't pick, starting with Mighty Morphin. Rita, which I really almost picked. I talked about it last week. She needs to be a figure, but I'm picking my personal choices, and the way I picked were figures that I personally want, figures that I don't have a version of, because there's a lot of characters. Like I'll tell you right now, RJ, one of my favorites, Casey, all Jungle Fury basically. But I have vinyls of them, and I have Bandai America, and they were pretty decent figures.
Yeah, they were pretty cool.
So while I love that season and want most of those characters, I don't feel the burning need that I feel for some others. I also tried to pick some that I thought might never get made. You know what I mean? Unless I pick them. But I tempered it with, there were a few that I wanted that if I got, I'm getting ahead of myself, but so that's where I started. So Rita I thought about, but I'm like, they will make a Rita eventually. And so then I was like, well, I do kind of want a villain, because villains I feel are underrepresented in the lines in general, especially older villains. The newer lines, like with Beast Morphers, they're doing a little bit better. So after I thought of Rita, I thought of Serpina, I thought of Babu, Squat, Finster, Bulk, Skull, Ninjor, all sounded good. But then I said, what? And if I picked Bulk, then I'd have to get Skull, because I couldn't, and I couldn't count on. That's one where I'm like, I can't. They might not make the other one, and I didn't want to waste 2 slots. So I thought, well, probably I'm jumping ahead a little bit, but for a villain, Astronema sounds really good. She's in space. She's got a cool outfit. She had a couple different iterations, but I like this one with the purple. And this was my pick until I was all done. And then I said, wait, I changed my mind. Divatox.
Wow.
Yeah, I was done. And what changed my mind is 2 things. One, they might make an Astronema figure. I doubt they'll make a Divatox figure, because Turbo isn't as popular as in space and this and that. And Astronema, comes back in later seasons. And despite what people think of Turbo, and I don't mind Turbo as much as most people do, I love Divatox. I thought she was a really fun villain. She's goofy and over the top, but she's also kind of sexy, and she's got this weird mask. And I just like this. I love the idea of her being like almost like a Joker grin and the cape. And so I kind of am gambling that they'll make an Astronema, or that you'll pick Astronema. But Divatox is only getting made if I pick her, and so that's why she was my first pick.
So one thing, and not to spoil whether or not I pick Astronema, one thing I thought of when I thought you picked her initially before you faked us all out was that for the multiple heads, she had so many different hairstyles that you could put one with like the red bob, one with the big hair, and like you have a lot of options, which is cool, unlike most other villains.
Real quick,
and that's
sorry, go ahead.
Go for it.
I just saw the Babu was talking about the Zed. It said on the set info, on the set, there was a hole in the back of the throne, so he could put one end of Zed's tube through it and pump blue liquid through it. So that's why it looked like it was moving.
Whoa,
that's really cool. But I guess when he wasn't on the throne, did it not pump?
It was probably just static.
Yeah. I agree with you about the heads for Astronema, but I also feel like, assuming this line does as well as like Marvel Legends and characters eventually get re-released, I think the first couple episodes, first 20, 30, whatever episodes of Astronema, she kind of had 2 or 3 different outfits, but they were all similar. And you could put the different heads on. But I feel like at the end, when she became the cyborg, it was a totally different look. You could re-release that one with the bob and maybe one other head. So you could potentially have 2 versions of the body that each come with 2 or 3 heads.
Yeah. My question to you before jumping into my
Yes, sir.
pick is, do you think that they're going to stick with 4 per wave, or they might expand to 6 or more?
I would like it if they expanded for 6 or more,
I know,
but
me
for
too.
purposes of this, I'm sticking with 4. And I feel like that's all a matter of how well they sell. Because
Oh, yeah.
if they're blowing out, then yeah, why not? But I mean, look at Marvel, because I keep comparing to Marvel Legends. For those that don't know, Hasbro now owns the license. They do Marvel Legends. They do the Black Series for Star Wars, which are 6-inch figures, very similar to what they're now doing with Power Rangers. And Marvel Legends, we used to get what, 1 or 2 waves a year. Now we get 4, 6, 8. Like, as long as they're selling, they come out faster and more. So if this does well, then yeah, they probably will start doing 6. But we're early days still. Matt Kendall Clare says, "Hey Steve, wow, cool, great background info." And then Real Babu says it was static when he moved around, so you get the deluxe on the throne and then everything else. That's really cool. Thanks, Real Babu.
So for mine, I thought about a lot of different ones.
Sure.
And keeping in mind, obviously, that these are ones that are, I don't want to see unlikely, but half likely, if we're just going to make up a term, where it could honestly go either way with a coin flip because of how things are. I'm going to go initially with my same pick as last week, Titanium Ranger.
That was the one I knew you'd have.
Mm-hmm.
So I had that one ready.
There you go. So the reason I picked Titanium, and for those that missed last week, he is an American-only Ranger, which stunned me because initially when I watched Lightspeed Rescue, I had no idea. He was integrated so well. His costume fit. He just had so much cool gravitas behind him as a character and during his arc that I think he is super cool. And obviously with a figure, I'm a huge fan and sucker for Six Rangers. So just being able to have a cool Six Ranger that we've only had a handful of representations of is really cool. Also, he, as of right now, and this is all my opinion, the only real way to get a proper Titanium Ranger is the Super Legends version. He's awesome. He has the slim build similar to the Green Ranger I showed earlier. I was going to go
yeah. I would say he's better than the Green Ranger because he doesn't have those weird ball joints on his hips. I mean, they're still not perfect, but the Green Ranger has like circles. He is one of the figures I have in with my SH Figure Arts, and he scales pretty well. Part of the reason I didn't put him on my list was because I have this figure. And while he's not perfect, he's better than a lot of other figures in my collection. So that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't have a Divatox. I have a Titanium Ranger that I like. And I knew you'd put him on your list.
If you ever want to trade the axe or the blaster, I'm willing to do that trade.
Because you have the same figure with the other accessory.
I want the axe, but I have the blaster.
I might do that. We'll talk about that offline. I might.
All right.
I got to think about it.
If you guys want this trade to happen, pressure Gaz in the comments. But that's going to be my first pick in the Wave of 4 non-exclusive.
That's pretty good. And I'm happy that I knew you well enough to predict that.
I know.
Matt Kendall Clare said, I think everyone knew someone was going to go to Ryan. Yeah, Ryan is Titanium for those that don't know.
Yep. And Rhett Fisher, super nice guy if you ever get a chance to meet him. The actor who played Titanium.
Yeah, I think there's a picture of you with him in the opening credits. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, so then I thought of Phantom. I came really close to picking Phantom Ranger. Thought about Blue Centurion, Ecliptor, Astronema, as I said. I would have picked Magna Defender if he wasn't already getting a figure.
Yep.
So then I thought of Trakina, Villamax. Man, I just listed all of these. Okay, Titanium Ranger was on there. Here's one I almost put on that you would appreciate, but I didn't. I was gonna put Lost Galaxy Red with the Battleizer, but I'm like, I don't think I could do that because we haven't had accessories and that stuff. But even though I'm not a big Battleizer guy and you are, I know that was like the first American Battleizer. So like as a piece of like, it's not. Am I wrong?
In Space, I think is the first Battleizer.
Oh, is it? Well, I enjoyed his more. Like, so I don't know.
His arguably looks cooler, so I will give you that.
I don't even know that it looks cool. I just remember in the story I liked it. So I like, and I would like it with maybe like a cracked whatever. But I didn't pick that, so I better stop talking about it. What I actually picked is, I have the picture ready. What I actually picked was Lightspeed Yellow.
Ooh.
For a couple reasons. One, Lightspeed. I have no Lightspeed Rescue in my collection at all. There's been no modern. I didn't happen to get a vinyl.
Except for Titanium.
Well, except for Titanium, yes. But the Sentai version of the team, and she rather. I lost my train of thought. Oh, the older figures are very bulky and weird, and so like I just never saw one I liked. And I really like. Oh my gosh, I'm blanking on her name. Was it Kelsey? Kelsey, I think.
Kelsey is the character's name, yes.
Yes, that's what I was looking for. So Kelsey, I really like her as a Yellow Ranger. She's one of my favorites. She's probably one of my favorite female Rangers of all time. And but that's the thing is I kind of would prefer to have a Kelsey figure with the Lightspeed jacket and
that would be
and the
cool, yeah.
headphones, because she was cool like that. But and this is my fantasy draft, so I could say give me a Kelsey figure. But the reason I won't is because I hate the idea of having one Lightspeed rescue and not the rest of the team. So I guess I'll have to stick with her in the uniform with the fact that I could take the helmet off, and that is my pick.
Okay.
Lightspeed yellow.
I like your transitions, by the way. Every time you're like, and here's my thought and a picture correlating to it, but then I do here, and here's the final answer.
I don't have that for all of them, but yeah.
So for me, I feel like, to be honest, I'm a pretty open book, and most of this list I've already said in bits and pieces throughout previous episodes. But if I'm going with a figure that I technically have a representation of, but kind of like you, even if I do, I'm not really counting it. I gotta go with Time Force Pink. I need a Jen figure just for so many different reasons. For those who haven't seen Time Force, highly recommend it. She is by far the most deserving Pink Ranger leader in any season that I've seen thus far, and I've only missed a handful. And from the limited knowledge I know, the Pink Rangers in that season don't take the cake over Jen. And also, I know last week we talked about the Shattered Grid comic book storyline. She is involved in that in some capacity. I'll leave it there. And it just makes me want it even more so. So because of that, I'm going with Jen.
Yeah, that's a great pick. She was on my list, didn't make the final cut. And partially because I have a really crappy figure of her. She's not great, but I at least have one.
Same.
And I knew you'd probably pick her. And going with playing I know that's not the greatest picture, but I just had to pick it on the fly.
It works.
But also going with kind of playing the odds, I think the chances of us getting a pink Time Force Ranger, especially since she's been so big in the comics, is much higher than a yellow Lightspeed Rescue. So I'm trying to, again, ask for things that I might never get otherwise.
Yeah, and that's why for my list too, I'm saying they're half likely because it's stuff that I really want that happens to be arguable for this would make money. Please make this.
Let me check chat real quick. Let's see. Oh, Matt Leclerc, Defender is right. Red Armored Ranger was definitely a cooler design, and indeed it was definitely the second Battleizer. Okay. Well, I guess that's why it stood out to me, thinking it was the first because it was better. So I was like,
yeah.
And also I like Leo better than Andros. I know that's blasphemy, but
it's one of those things. The older I get, the more I can be convinced.
Well, I'm not trying to convince you. I'm just saying what I think.
Yes, stop trying to convince me. I have my opinion on both these Rangers, please.
Mechanical Claire says I like to do fake. I do like to do fake outs. I don't know how many more I have though. And Arizuki says, "Ahoy! Tech Advisor Q is online. Welcome, Tech Advisor Q." All right, so let me get into my third here. Let's see, where was I? Because I have my little note list. Time Pink I did have on there. Thought about Wild Yellow, another female Yellow Ranger I like a lot. Who she kind of like Time Pink was sort of the leader of the team, at least in the beginning. And I do she was a little too gung ho, but I did prefer her to Cole as the leader.
For sure, 100%.
I also thought of Wild White just because I really like that outfit, the white and pink cat outfit. But all right, Jindrax and Toxica, which Matt Kendall Clare somebody had brought up on Facebook, and going through Dino Charge, SPD, and so eventually I went through a lot. I'm going to skip over a lot of them. RPM and Jungle Fury specifically because I have or could get good representations. I didn't pick any of, and then I landed on another female Ranger. You want to take a guess?
Can you tell me the era?
Disney. No, I'm sorry, Neo Saban.
Any female Ranger?
Female Ranger from Neo Saban.
Ooh, are you gonna go with Dino Charge Pink?
Nope. I'm gonna tell you right now. Lauren Shiba.
Oh,
Samurai Red. Yeah.
Thank God.
Well, Dino Charge Pink. I mean, I like Dino Charge as a season. But I have the SH figure art and I have the Bandai America version of it, so I didn't feel like I needed any Dino Charge figures at all because they have good representations for the most part. Yeah.
The SH figure arts of Shinken Red female version is pretty cool. I do have her.
True, but I don't have it, so I'm like, well, And
Nana Boo Boo, I'm sorry.
Matt Kendall Clare said, I don't think any other Pink Rangers could beat Jen. I agree. Actually, I agree with that. Obviously Kimberly's going to be more popular, but I think Jen is just a badass.
Yeah,
And then Matt thought I was going to pick Kendall. I do like Kendall.
that is a good pick. Much better than what I said.
Don't have a SH figure arts of her, but I have the entire Dino Charge Super Drive, like the whole team, all of them. And I just don't like. I don't have a Lauren Sheba, and I like the idea of getting a good one. And SH figure arts, as we talked about, is kind of on the way out, so I'd rather get it from the Lightning collection. And then Matt did not see Lauren coming. And then Airzuki says it's tough because Andromeda is. Oh, I think you mean Astronema. Is one of the best arcs as a character, and ultimately ends up being a Pink Ranger, so she's definitely up there. And I would argue like her better than Time Force Pink as a character. However, for a Pink Ranger being a capable Ranger, then Time Force wins. Yes. And also, I know you came in later, Zuki. I had Astronema as a pick originally, but then I switched to Divatox at the very end because I feel like part of what I was saying is I think an Astronema figure might get made, and I don't think they'll ever make a Divatox. So, all right. So let's move on to Bigdawg for your pick number 3.
Well, this is awkward because I was going to say Lauren Sheba.
Really?
Yeah, honestly, this goes back.
Wait, so why were you happy when I said her instead of Dino Charge Pink?
Because once again, like just thinking of the Neo Saban era, I totally forgot about Samurai. I instantly in my mind kept like thinking of core yellow and pink Rangers and not like what I consider Lauren a 6 Ranger, but obviously she could be argued in the main 5 because of the color combination. But
and she wasn't a 6 Ranger because, and this is a little bit spoiler territory, so sorry, but when she was around, Jaden wasn't. So she was.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Like to me, because of when she was introduced, I should say, I consider her a 6 Ranger. And then same with Kendall, totally forgot about her. But once again, the comics made me really appreciate Lauren that much more. I haven't watched her full arc in Samurai, but from what I have watched, I really don't like Jaden. So any person is better than Jaden in my mind as a Red Ranger. And I like how in the comics, she is the Red Samurai Ranger for a part of it. And also, I mean, she's so cool. Like design-wise also, like you just can't beat it. The only thing that I'm bummed about, and now I know they can't do it unless you get a custom, is they never made a Lauren Ranger key.
Right. That would be an awesome pack-in if they made her and gave her a Ranger key. Because
that would be awesome.
The American ones, for the most part, I think they would just say like Samurai. They wouldn't call it the individual names or anything. So it would just be basically the same exact back of the key, and then just add like a little skirt area so it's Lauren. That would be awesome.
I've seen people do it, and the customs look, depending on who does them, they're pretty easy to do. But it's one that like once again, I don't know what Bandai's thinking. Where it's like, hey, what are some things you guys want? Oh, we'd love Lauren figures or Ranger keys. We'd love Psycho Ranger keys. We'd love Psycho Ranger figures, all these things. Okay, so we're going to give you some Psycho Rangers and nothing else.
But again, they also were at the end of their license. The license
but this
was expiring.
Was before that. When they were doing Ranger keys and then they did another wave of Ranger keys, they didn't think of doing Psycho Ranger keys or a Lauren or and they could have even bled them into Dino Charge. Like I'm shocked they didn't do that either.
Well, Bandai. Well, the weird thing is Bandai Japan. For those that don't know, there's Japanese keys which are different. They're bigger and stuff, and they. I mean, who knows? They might come out with another set at any time now, like because they've put out like sets well beyond Gokaiger, which was Super Mega Force. But we're getting into the weeds a little bit. But yeah, I don't know why they didn't do that. But clearly, Lauren Sheba, a strong choice. We both picked her. So, and you don't even really like Neo Saban or Samurai nearly as much as I do. So it's more surprising that you would. And I think it's mostly because of the comic. Am I right?
Yeah. If I ever made anybody second guess whether or not they should buy Shattered Grid, buy Shattered Grid, please.
No, you've always been very positive. Airzuki wants to know if Hasbro is going to make any more Ranger keys. They have not announced it. It seems unlikely. Maybe as like some kind of exclusive or something, but since they haven't Bandai hadn't in so long, it seems unlikely.
Yeah, and if they did it, I'm wondering if they would go through the effort of retooling it because obviously they don't have the molds.
Yeah, I mean, this is why I said it would maybe like a one-off pack, and maybe if they we didn't pick her to be our exclusive, but maybe if it was an exclusive or something, I don't know. Okay. All right, so let me go back to mine real quick. Excuse me.
Yours is going to be an all-female wave, isn't it?
I realized looking at this, I've picked 3 females, and you've picked 2 out of 3. So right now it's very female heavy, but it is not an all female wave. But
Mine in my head, I knew was going to be a split.
I mean, I think, like I said, females and villains are usually underrepresented, so it makes sense that that's what our picks would be, because that's what the fans always like. Maybe little kids don't want that, but collectors and like I don't even I said this before, like even as a kid, it's not like I didn't want the bad guys or the girls. So I don't know where that idea comes from exactly, like, but yeah. Anyway,
Supposedly, various people that are higher ups at toy companies have said that girl characters don't sell as well as boys when it comes to specific figures. This, I think, is incredibly outdated.
Yeah.
And I think has been refuted on many occasions. I
God.
still don't understand why.
I don't understand either, because I'm a bit older than you, and like I collected G.I. Joe and He-Man and stuff, and like I wanted Teela from He-Man. I wanted Scarlet and Lady J from G.I. Joe. I wanted Princess Leia from Star Wars. Like I never didn't like, there were characters that were dumb that you didn't want. Like in Empire Strikes Back, there was a guy named Lobot. He was like a bald guy with like a pantsuit. Nobody wanted him. But you wanted Princess Leia, and she was cool. So if the female characters are cool, and in Power Rangers, whatever you think of an individual ranger or a season, they're all the cool superheroes. So who doesn't want the whole team of superheroes? Whatever. So before I get into my pick, let's see. Matt Kendall Clare says, I don't even like Samurai that much, but I do like Lauren, and for villains, I do like the Schrader the best out of the Nylock. I was a big fan of Decker in as well, and what was her name? Dayu. I like that whole storyline. Well, we've said it before. I'm a Samurai apologist fanboy. Airzuki says, I want a Jungle Fury variant figure where it's in the Jungle Karma pizza outfit, and they have a pizza accessory, and they can deliver pizza to TMNT since they're technically in the same universe. I sub all of that real hard. Matt can declare. Now you're thinking like Dolly, lol. All right, so my next pick. That's another Samurai. No, it's not. I did the wrong one. I jumped ahead by mistake. This, I'm sorry, I did it out of order, but the next one is Samurai. This is the one I thought of for the GameStop exclusive. This is the one that would have unique tooling, but not be a character that everybody needs. So it's Samurai Gold, specifically in the Mega Mode armor. So even if you want all the Samurai Rangers, you don't necessarily need this one. And if they don't release all of them, it's not the end of the world because you only see it in the cockpit. And I picked this because Samurai Gold is one of my favorite Rangers. And while there are 2 Samurai Mega Mode figures. One is the little teeny one that's not, in scale. Actually, there might even be a few more because they have the little white thing when they're in like Shogun mode. But essentially, there's the little small ones that are not in scale with anything. There is one that's kind of almost in scale with the Legacy collection and the Lightning collection. But it's like a flip head, and it barely has any articulation, and the sword is gigantic, and it's like more of an orange brown. So I want a nice one that is gold, preferably chrome, but at least gold. And so that would be like my GameStop original mold, but not super important character pick. And I apologize for getting the order wrong there.
I'll do the same as you, just so we're consistent.
Okay, sounds good.
One fun fact though about this specific version of Samurai Gold. Over the years, Gazbot and I have gone to different conventions and toy shows looking for things. And sometimes if we go separate, we look for things for each other that we know we're looking for. I have on at least 3 different occasions had one of those versions of Samurai Gold in Mega Mode and said, hey, you love it, Antonio. Do you want this? No. Insert reason why not. So I want it to be made so that you have it as well.
Thank you. Airzuki says, what? Gaz wants a Samurai Gold Mega Mode armor? I wonder why. For those that don't know, and you can see this in the credits, I own a suit of Samurai Gold Mega Mode armor for cosplay. It's the only Power Ranger cosplay anything I have. Well, I have, morphers and henshin devices like that, but I do own that suit. And then there's a link. Oh, worth the click. So there's a link you could click that Airzuki put up. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a picture of me in the suit, I'm guessing. Matt Kendall Clare says, LOL, I can detect your sarcasm 2,500 miles away, Q, LOL. It is a photo of me in the cosplay, so I don't have to click because I've seen it. Nice. All right, so
I lived it, so I'm good.
Yeah, but for those that haven't or haven't seen it before, you could check that out. Oh, actually, that we have a pause? I realized there's a blank space above your head. So I'm going to interrupt real quick because last week I had put up a video. I was working on the Masked Rider headshot, and I had finished it, but I didn't have the video. So I was just going to show the final. So I'll just put that up real quick. There's the final art. but I didn't want to take up the whole room, so let me suck that up, and I'll just throw it over there. Okay, so we'll just leave that up there. That's the Masked Rider that I worked on for last week.
Silence. Words have no meaning.
On a planet
under the Cape
of War. I almost said Caped in War. You're a better Masked Rider than I am.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so since I jumped ahead, you're going to jump ahead into your GameStop style exclusive now?
Yes.
Okay.
So this is one I actually didn't think of initially, but because of how this character's been used in various forms of media, whether it be the comics or the video game, or possibly figures. Hopefully, we'll find out in about a week or so. As an exclusive, that there is already a figure of this character out, but this character has had various iterations and versions. So, for my GameStop exclusive, as a companion piece, if you will, to a previous exclusive of this character, I'm going to go with Lord Draken in his all-black costume.
Oh, now that was his final version? Like, quote-unquote final?
I'm just going to go with all-black with cape.
Okay.
And recommend, once again, read Shattergrid.
Sure. Okay. Yeah, good call. That's a good way to say it. That is a good pick. That is a really good pick. Let me see if you talk about that a little bit while I see if I can find a picture for you.
So last year at Power Morph Con 2018, the exclusive figure was a Lord Draken in his regular form. It comes with a Saban, and it comes with a green dragon dagger. And this was one where for some people it was a little bit easier to get. Others had a little bit more difficult time. And another exclusive was his throne that was handmade. It was made out of resin. Really cool. I didn't end up picking one up, but it is a pretty cool piece if you have it in your collection. And obviously, there are different iterations of Draken if you've seen images or covers here and there. And to me, the final one that has the cape is one that I think is a good way of Hasbro testing the waters with the comic characters, and one also where, for those that don't know much about it, it's like, oh, that kind of looks like the White Ranger, and it kind of looks like the Green Ranger. It looks cool. Why don't I get it? And it has a little less on the line, since it would be an exclusive. So
right.
Those that really want it can get it, and those that don't have to.
I agree with your reasoning for being exclusive. I just put a picture up. I was having a hard time finding the correct version. I'm not even sure if this is fan art or like pre-design art, but does this look like the correct version that you wanted?
Let me see after the delay's done on my end.
Okay. I mean, he's definitely black, but he has like a red visor, and
that's probably correct. Hang on.
Okay.
I still can't see anything yet other than our faces.
Oh, that's my fault. Sorry.
No problem.
There we go.
Yes. Yeah, that's I think it's preliminary, but that's pretty much what I was going for.
Okay. So that's good. We both kind of picked a alternate version of a character that would need some new tooling, but isn't a necessary thing for a collection. So we both, whether people like our picks, we both succeeded in the category.
Yep.
Let's see. Matt Kendall Claire, you finally got the quote right. All right, so we got to step back real quick and do our final one for the main 4 wave. And so back to me. Let me see, where was I on that? Oh, and I see why I messed up. So again, I kind of thought of this in order. So I went past Samurai, and then I thought of Megaforce, which I do like Robo Knight for Megaforce, but there are figures of him, so I didn't really need him. Super Megaforce, while I know it's not everybody's favorite, I think it would be cool to have a powered-up Orion figure.
Same.
But I think there is a version you can get from Japan that's pretty decent, and so I kind of let that go. Thinking of Dino Charge, I did think of Kendall, but again, I have a Kendall figure. I thought about the male Purple Ranger, but there's even an American male. Like, Dino Charge did a good job. I don't love the squat muscular size, but they did a good job of kind of doing everything. So I didn't really feel like I needed any Dino Charge, except for the one I do need, which is Heckle. We got Snide, we didn't get Heckle. And even though he's a human character, he's, a villain. So, and he has kind of an outfit. It's not just like a civilian. He's got the cool hair. He's got the goggles. You can give him like an energy effect or a gun or something. He's got the long trench coat. I really like the actor who played him. I thought I like human villains often more than costume villains as the main, because you could see their face acting. The best is when you get someone like Babu, where you get the best of both worlds, where they're in a costume but they still have a face. And then don't get me wrong. I mean, I love Lord Dredd, but Lord Dredd. Lord Zed. Lord Dredd is from Captain Power. But like, for example, oh, thank you very much for that. We just got something from somebody I didn't even see.
It was the Solar Bear. Thank you
Oh,
for
thank you so
following.
much. I appreciate that. But like, for example, Sledge was an American only villain in Dino Charge,
Yep.
and I like American only villains, and that's kind of cool. But when Heckle and Snide came in, I liked them a lot more. And actually, even as I say it, Snide was a villain that was you couldn't see his face, but so it's I'm kind of contradicting myself because I'm saying I liked him because you could see his face, but I also like
I
villains
just really like him, guys.
I do really like him. He also has a bit of a Doctor Who vibe, like the sort of chaotic. I just put my outfit together because I don't know what's going on, and it. I don't want to get into spoiler territory, but if you watch that season, there's certain things you thought would happen with this character that didn't. That kind of broke my heart a little bit. But if you read the comics, there's a little bit of a redemption there, and I don't want to get any more into it. But if you watch Dino Charge and feel unfulfilled, read the comics. It'll fulfill you a little bit more, is all I'm saying.
What I will add to what you said
Yeah.
without spoiling also. I know last week we talked about the Beyond the Grid arc.
Mhm.
There's an issue that has a Dino Charge Ranger on the front that is completely self-contained. You
Mhm.
can read that if you love Dino Charge but don't want to pick up every other issue, and you will feel pretty dang great after watching Dino Charge
Mhm.
and still not need to jump into that story. if
I've
you
read it, and
so
I
choose
agree.
not to.
I absolutely agree. Excuse me. Let's see. Arazuki says the fact that Heckle was never yeah, I agree. I agree. The real Babu. If I only I could do something like that again, a costume villain but with a visible face. Well, maybe we'll take a quick little detour again, because something else. There was so much setup in this show that I wasn't sure how much I wanted to throw in all at once.
Yeah.
So we'll take a quick break from what we're doing. I'm gonna turn off this slideshow. Oops, not that slideshow. What I want to put up is that we remember Matt from a while back. I did an interview about the Immortal Red Fox, and we did an interview with Steve Andrino, the real Babu. And I have talked to both of them, and there's sort of a little mini collaboration going on right now. And what that is and Matt told me I could talk about this. So Steve Andrino, who played Babu, is going to play a character in an upcoming episode of the Immortal Red Fox. And that character is going to be called the Dark Lord Shinigami, and I designed the costume. So the three of us are all working together on that. And I have a video of the costume that I'm trying to find to put up right now, which is what I'm doing.
I'm waiting. That's why I
Yeah.
keep making this puckered face
Well, go ahead
awkwardly.
and respond to the news while I try to find where I put it.
So, for those of you that don't follow Gazbot, he posts a lot of art-related things or just things about his life, depending on the day, but always posts every day, which is always cool. And I wasn't in the full conversation about everything that was going on, but kind of saw it from the fan perspective. And after talking to Matt in regards to the Immortal Red Fox and where it's going and stuff, I've been really excited to see what comes next, and seeing the preliminary designs for potential / future villains or characters was really cool, because obviously I'm a fan of Gaz's art, and seeing that kind of in the early stages just makes me fill in the blanks of how it'll look kind of going forward. And as he's getting it ready, I am really excited to see it was Dark Lord Shinigami, correct?
The Dark Lord Shinigami. And Shinigami, I believe, is a Japanese word referring to a yokai, which is a ghost, but it's sort of a Grim Reaper. And I put the video on, but for some reason it's not playing. So let me.
Oh, above your head?
Yeah, it should.
It's playing, but it might be playing in regular speed.
Okay. Let me. There it goes. I think it's going now. There it goes. It's actually going to be a short video, because here's what you're going to see. And I know it's a little bit of a tributary. Sorry about that. I did a design having not really talked to him much about it. Just kind of knew it was going to be this Grim Reaper, Japanese Reaper. I didn't do any research. I just did the design, and that's what we see here. Then after talking to Matt and finding out more what he wants and what he could build, and doing my own research into some Showa era villains and stuff, I redid it. And that will be, it's the semi-final, because they're going to have to build it. So there'll be some changes, obviously. So what you're going to see is me sketching my original design, and then there's going to be a transition of a couple slides to the final, because the video on that got corrupted and I don't have it. But if you keep up here, in about 10 minutes or whatever, you'll see the final.
Mhm.
So that's that. So yeah, sorry for the digression, but the real Babu, that's why he was saying if only he could do something like that again, a costume villain but with a visible face. And
Mhm.
spoilers, that is what we're going to get to by the end of this. And the real Babu said, when Matt talked to me about the character, he specifically wanted a character with an open face like Babu, and this time I will be the voice as well. So we're all in
Nice.
agreement that a suit with a visible face is the way to go. Except now we're gonna get a voice. Well, the real Babu speaks.
Mhm.
All right. So for those not interested, sorry for the digression, but you should be because the Immortal Red Fox is awesome. The real Babu
Yeah.
is awesome, and well, some people say my art is awesome.
Big fans of all three from the fan perspective of that. I think we missed what Matt Kendall Claire said.
They were talking about Heckle, but I was kind of intentionally not.
Oh, got it.
I don't.
Never mind.
It's fine if you guys want to chat about it there, but I don't want to put spoilers out, too much. But you guys, you got your questions answered in chat, so that's fine. Stuff about Heckle and where his character goes, which again, watch the season, read the comic, then you'll find out.
Exactly.
And let's see. DigiRanger Scott 94 says it's an opportunity the Lightning Collection to take because of the comics, and then talking about interchangeable bodies, and I agree with that. But again, I don't want to get too much into specifically what you're saying because it's a little bit of a spoiler, which is fine for chat. But so anyway, Heckle is my pick for a variety of reasons.
Yep.
And there you go. So what is your final pick for the fourth in the main line?
So, kind of like I said, keeping it in what was the term I coined? It was half likely.
Oh, half likely, yeah.
Half likely. So, for me, I don't think they're gonna do 3 female characters, which I mean, I get it. And I didn't want to do too many Sixth Rangers. I think the first wave they did it because actually they did it in both waves.
Well,
No,
because they're trying to generate the same way you have to do Mighty Morphin and you do Six Rangers. They know that's what people want.
No, but now my answer changed because I didn't realize they did 2 Six Rangers in both. So this
Wait,
actually
so
helped me.
so you had an answer that you were about to give me and then just changed it right now?
I know, just like you.
That's awesome. Okay, so what was the one you were going to say?
So I was thinking of a primary color ranger that obviously wasn't red. So I was thinking in the black, blue, or green kind of realm, or even male yellow, as some of the cases may be. And we already got Ninja Storm yellow, so that was one I probably wasn't going to go with. Justin's cool, but I don't know if I would have gone with him for my Blue Ranger. So one that I know we mentioned on the Facebook page, I had brought it up under Matt Kendall Claire's comment was if we did Alien Ranger Blue. I really like how that looks, and obviously seeing the Equation heads would have been cool, but that's my fake out. So
That's your
if you
fake
want to
out.
pull up an image, you're totally welcome to do so. But what I was going to say, keeping with the 2 Six Rangers, and the reason I say that for those that don't know, in Series 2, Gaz posted a picture up of it, but it is rumored / almost totally confirmed of Magnum Defender, Mighty Morphin Pink,
Beast Morphers Red and Beast Morphers
Morphers.
Gold.
Thank you. Beast Morphers Red and Beast Morphers Gold. So, keeping with that, I already have Titanium as a Six Ranger. I'm not going to count Lauren, even though I convinced myself that she's a Six Ranger. But I'm going to go with my true final pick to round out the 4 as God, why am I blanking on the name? Jungle Fury Violet.
Oh, really? Wolf Ranger, huh?
Yes, sir.
I mean, I sub that because I love that character, but you think that they might not make him, and you can't wait?
I want him either way.
Okay.
And I'm going with it just because. Also, I mean, the reason that it's half likely to me is Shadow Ranger was in the comics recently. He was a very well liked and prevalent character in SPD, but also he was in a mentor kind of role.
Right.
So same with RJ. We see him from the get-go being the mentor of the Rangers, and I would like to see him in this wave in a similar capacity.
All right. I mean, I definitely agree with that pick, and I like I said, he's one of my favorite Rangers. I just have 2 versions of him that are both pretty good, so I could kind of wait. Was my thought. Let me put. Oh, that's a weird picture I grabbed of him.
I also am curious to see, similar to how they did it with Zed, and actually with Shadow Ranger, how much metallic they're willing to use going forward, and if they gave him a nice metallic sheen on that purple.
That's true, yeah, and then the silver too, for that matter. Let me check chat. I think we missed a little bit. Mackinac Claire Now we're getting a Defender figure. Exactly. And then McIntyre says Sestro would have been cool for an Equation Ranger. Yeah, and I don't love the Alien Rangers. They're not my favorite designs because they're kind of basic. But I also have the vintage figures of them, and I have the whole set, so I like those. So again, it's like it's a lot of these aren't who are my favorite. It's who don't I have, that I need.
Yeah.
RJ is a good pick. Yeah, and again, Jungle Fury is one of my, if not my favorite seasons of all time. So I can't argue with that.
Do you have some kind of advertisement or thing that you show random people you've never met to show how much you love Jungle Fury?
Oh, what do you mean? Like some kind of mark on my body that I could never remove that is, the master mark? Yeah, I might have that.
You got to do the cool like hand gesture with it or something.
I know, but I was trying to figure out how I could get it into the camera,
Just very Vanna White of you.
Yeah, see, I want to do that, but then you can't see it. It's sort of it's awkward from this angle. But there it is. I have an elbow that bends backwards, so that's my hand gesture.
Wow!
Cha! I broke my elbow.
I don't have an elbow that bends backwards, so if mine ever does that, be concerned.
I will be concerned, or I'll be like, you finally evolved. Now you're on my level. Welcome. All right, so we're down to the final pick. Now this will be the sort of Walgreens style exclusive, where it is a figure that either already exists or could exist, but it's a variant on that. So. My pick, let me see if I had any. I think I went straight to this. Okay, moving along. I thought about Ninja Steel Gold. Ninja Steel not my favorite season, but I like Gold Rangers and the Cowboy. But we have a figure of that. And do I really need another? And also I thought that wouldn't work because he's like a main character, so forget about that. I thought about several Beast Morphers characters, but we're getting 2 in this line wave coming up, and I'm like, and plus I have the smaller figures, and I thought maybe doing Scrozzle because we probably won't get a Scrozzle, but at the end of the day, what I decided, do you want to take a guess? It's post Samurai and post Dino Charge because I was thinking of it in order, and I said it's in the last couple seasons.
I know what you're doing.
Do you know what I'm doing?
Yeah, you're doing. Why am I forgetting his character's name?
What season do you think I picked from?
Ninja Steel.
But I'm not really a big fan of Ninja Steel.
Yes, but you are a fan of the actor who's now the actor's name I forgot, who was the other Red Ranger.
Yes,
Mick.
that is my pick, Mick. The other Red Ranger. You're exactly right. He underneath. Hey, look at me. And that's a little bit of a spoiler, so I apologize, but I don't. Anybody who hasn't watched Ninja Steel probably isn't going to at this point.
And that's one of those things that even though it's a spoiler, you're fine.
Yeah, but so even though we don't have a Red Ninja Steel Ranger, theoretically, we would get it eventually, and so the variant would just be a different sash and an alternate head with Mick. And while it's not my favorite season, I really like the character of Mick, and I really like that actor. And it would be cool if also maybe you get the Mick head with the crazy hair, and maybe one with not crazy hair because he's been an actor on other shows, and you could then use that head elsewhere. But even if it's just the crazy hair and the alternate Red Ranger, that would be my pick for the variant that Walgreens would have.
One thing for historical kind of perspective too is Hasbro's known for giving you a version of a character either souped up or not exactly what you want early,
right,
and then giving you exactly what you want later. So perfect example is for the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive, we're getting Zeo Gold and Armored Red Ranger. I really want those. I have an Armored Red Ranger right here that I bought less than a year ago. I also have a Zeo Gold Ranger I bought within the last 2 years. I also want a Jason figure. So what are they going to do? I guarantee you they're going to release both those Rangers once again. From a Marvel Legends perspective, everybody's been wanting a Doctor Doom figure. So what did Walgreens do? They gave you a superior Iron Man or
a variant,
Iron Man, whatever it is, which is Doctor Doom in an Iron Man suit, which isn't quite Doctor Doom, but will work in the meantime as a placeholder.
Well, and also Walgreens has Dragon Shield Black Mighty Morphin before we get regular Mighty Morphin Black.
Exactly.
Matt Kendall, we missed a few actually.
Oh, wow.
Matt Kendall said Cosmo. Oh, no, but Cosmo would be a cool one, too. Oh, wow, Mick, didn't see that happening. Yeah, I didn't think anybody thought Ninja Steel was going to show up on my list.
I kind of did once you hinted at it.
Well, yeah, the fact that I said I went in order. And it's all due to the actor. You know what I mean? It's the actor more than that season. And the fact that he got to be a Ranger, like, the whole thing was really cool to me. Like, that was one of that and the anniversary were like my two favorite parts of that season. Well, and I guess the
Yeah.
Christmas special too, which wasn't great, but it had another little crossover, which I won't spoil for those that haven't seen it. But
Yeah.
basically, the special events in that season I enjoyed a lot. Just everything in between, not so much.
Yeah.
And then we need we need a keeper, says DigiRanger. I agree. They never made a keeper figure. I didn't even think of that. When we were
That
talking
would
about how
be
they
kinda
made
cool.
every Dino Charge person, they never made a keeper at all. That's weird. Although I will say I'd rather have a Heckle than a keeper. I would certainly take a keeper. And then not just Matt Kendall Clare says not just keeper, but all the mentors and the techies. I had to
Oh,
go there.
yeah.
Well,
100%.
yeah. And then Erzuki says, well, you know what, Bigdawg? Maybe you should try wanting some more obscure and weird things, and then when they don't do it, you won't think they're spying on you, NSA style. Yeah, wanting Jason figures is not. You're gonna get rewarded a lot more than me, who wants a
I know.
Heckle figure.
So taking a look at
Yes.
what we've just said,
Mhm.
first of all, I'm really jealous of your Ninja Steel pick because I didn't think of that, and I love the aesthetic of that costume.
Yeah.
So good on you.
Thank you.
Oh, that didn't happen in the American series. Dang it. One, just it's not even a fake out. It's just me not knowing the rules of what we set in place.
Sure.
Supposedly, because I haven't seen it, in Hurricaneger, there is a Black Ranger where it's the Red Ranger's costume in all black. The only reason I know is there's a Ranger key of it.
Mm-hmm.
That would be really cool. I don't believe it was ever on Ninja Steel or
Wait,
Ninja Storm.
I just watched Ninja Storm. That I don't remember that happening, unless it was
Yeah.
like one episode for like. I don't remember that happening. So I'm gonna unless chat tells me I have a bad. If it happened at all, it was one episode where like he got hit with a spell or something, but I don't remember it. So if it didn't happen in Power Rangers, it's not going to be in the Lightning Collection. So I would it would work as a variant if it happened,
Yeah.
but I'm 99% sure it didn't. So I'm going to veto that unless Matt Kendall Clare or somebody tells me I'm wrong, because I have been wrong before. He said it didn't happen, which would have been cool. So I'm sorry, but that choice is invalid.
I know what I'm doing.
Okay.
So we've talked about it in the past,
Okay.
and it hasn't happened too much. Where's my example? In the basic line,
Yes.
in the past from Bandai, we have gotten henchmen. But in terms of army building, it's kind of linear. There's not much difference in the characters. But there are henchmen that we've had that have had upgrades or edits over time.
Okay.
So one henchman that I think would work, both staying on theme and staying within everything we've said in terms of the money,
Right.
is a deluxe putty
I
figure.
had a feeling you were gonna. Yeah. Okay.
And with that, you would have interchangeable hands with different effect parts, the traditional putties that had the blades or the big rock hands, and you have a removable chest piece if you want to make it a Z putty.
That's pretty good. So with the idea being that eventually, either previous or after, there would be a putty figure, but it wouldn't have all those extra pieces and things like that.
Yeah, or you just make a Z putty that's an exclusive there, or not. And one thing, just if this were to become a reality and I am being line tapped by the government, like Eric said, definitely not happening. But one example from Hasbro also is they're releasing the Fantastic Four characters all as Walgreens exclusives.
Mm-hmm.
And with the Mr. Fantastic figure, many people, including myself, had bought multiples because he's just a base body with the 4 logo, and you could turn it into a Spider-Man variant, into a
Johnny Storm,
non-flaming Johnny Storm. So with that, it would be both great and terrible because we found our 2 or 3, and that was it.
Yeah.
And with this, if it's not super duper allocated correctly, or if it's not distributed well, it would be great and terrible if you could get 1 or 2 and then nothing else. So that's what I'm going to go with, just because I think it would work, and hopefully if they do, you can buy it on the website.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's a pretty good pick. I don't know that I would have wasted my pick on that, because I believe they will make putty. I don't need to say waste, because I believe they will make putties. I think you're right that they won't have the Z putty and all the different like weapons and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it might be hard to army build, but I like villain characters. I don't think I army build the henchmen as much as you do when it comes to Power Rangers. I like having 1 or 2, and I'd rather have a Mick figure than a putty, an extra putty,
Yeah.
But I do think that is a good solid pick, and I think more people would like a super putty than a Mick from Ninja Steel. So
I think also just like, and I would love to hear the full logic behind it, but I don't understand why we don't have more multi-packs or 2 packs, even 3 packs or con exclusives of different versions of like, here are the 2 or 3 different Ninja Steel Rangers with slightly different things for the
Right.
red, or here is Dino Charge purple, male and female body, like
Right.
stuff like that. I think is really cool. Or
I
like
mean,
Ninja.
if it goes on long enough and is successful enough, I think we will see that. Because I keep comparing it to Legends, where Legends didn't do that in the beginning, but we've gotten there. You know what I mean?
I'm cautiously optimistic because you and I
Hmm.
pre-action activate. What was it? 3 years ago?
Yes. The
Said
first.
when they make all of these, they'll
Yeah.
all be in scale and we'll have every single
Well,
character.
who would
And
have
I've been
ever
hurt before.
who would have ever thought that Bandai was going to lose the license when they've had it since 1995 or whatever, 3? Like nobody saw that coming. Nobody saw that coming.
I've been hurt
You
before.
have been hurt before. By the way, if you look up here now, that is the final version of the costume that will be for the Dark Lord Shinigami that will be in the Immortal Red Fox that will be worn by the real Babu, Steve Andrino.
Hmm.
Let me make it a little bigger so we could actually see it since we've finished our grid here. Doop, just so everybody get a good look. Boop. So this is based on input from the creator of the show and my own research into what this mythical character might be like and old Showa era villains from Sentai. And yeah, and Steve's gonna have to wear something relatively similar to this.
So I have a question, just
Yes,
impromptu mini interview.
sure.
So I know we haven't had an interview in a while, but I was curious just because you and I haven't discussed this.
Hmm.
When it comes to the hook-like weapon, is it one that should come down? Does he grab it? What's kind of
It, it
the design choices with that?
you can well, you could have seen it in the video we were talking, but it folds back up. So it's folded up
Okay.
now. When I did it originally, it was like a big hook hand, like you'd see on a monster where that's their hand.
Hmm.
But then I thought, depending on the acting and what he might need to do, because I don't have a script, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I want him to be able to have his hand free. So it's sort of a gauntlet. There's a pivot point right in the middle. You can almost see it right here. I imagine it being attached right here. And
Hmm.
then it will flip out to be a weapon or whatever he does with it. Reap souls, fight, the Immortal Red Fox, however you use it, but it could flip up and
Hmm.
down. This is just so he can have it up and actually be able to use his hands. That was my thought.
And when you were coming up with, obviously you had some of the input with Matt.
Hmm.
For the skull designs, was there anything that you used as a base for that, or kind of an
Yes.
inspiration to how it was set up?
Yes, absolutely. I wanted him to have some sort of like vestments, like priest-like vestments, and
Hmm.
Matt had suggested a few. This is a type of Buddhist monk, I think. I'm forgetting now because he
Okay.
gave me a couple options that would fit into that world. So I picked the one I liked the best, and it's sort of like a combat monk sort of character. Not the character. I'm sorry, the robes.
Hmm.
And these robes are based heavily on that, but I made them black where they're usually not black. And
Okay.
they wear a necklace that has 4 balls. One, two, three, four. That I basically drew that necklace. I don't know the significance of it in their culture. I mean, it has something to do with meditation or whatever. But I
Hmm.
changed the balls into skulls because he's the Grim Reaper and he's death. So,
Yeah.
and then I just put him on his knees to like. That's the design choice to continue to design going. But that is why there are 4 there like that. Yeah.
Okay. The reason I ask is the way that they're placed on his chest,
Hmm.
the way that they hang. I thought of the 4 orbs on Thor's costume.
Oh, I
That
see. He has 6,
that
doesn't he?
depends on who draws them,
Okay. But
but
yeah,
you're probably right.
but yeah, if you look, it's actually it is a necklace that goes around, and I just
Okay.
but yeah, it was a lot of this was based on something, and then I changed it to put my own spin on it. So I wasn't
Hmm.
copying any one thing. I sort of pulled from a bunch of different areas, and then like underneath the whole thing, he has like kind of mummy wraps, which is
Hmm.
not part of any vestment at all. Again, just a way to make anything I thought of that connected with death. I was trying to think like a Sentai slash Power Ranger designer, where they're just like what a detail you probably can't see is the number 4 is written on here like in gold, kind of stylized in English because the number 4 is an unlucky number in Japanese and it symbolizes death.
Oh, interesting.
And the symbol on his belt and on his head is the Japanese kana for death. So it was everything I did was very intentional. It sounds a little pretentious, but I didn't just capricious. I didn't just draw a cool. The first one I did was I drew a cool character. This one I actually, talking with Matt as well, put a lot of
Hmm.
intention and meaning behind everything we put in there.
Well,
Uh,
thank you for the impromptu interview.
no problem. I'm happy to answer questions about it. Let's see. Digiranger Scott said the year maybe retype that. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there, man.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
And then Erzuki said Tech Advisor update. Oh, she's telling everybody to check out Gazbot.com, which is my website, which she recently revamped, and it's awesome. I could say that because she made it, not me, and I'm not good at such things. But yes, that is absolutely true. So we talked about doing another kind of predictive one, but we are over an hour, and I kind of wanted to get into the little bit of news and stuff. So if people enjoyed this, and if we can't think of anything next week, maybe we'll do less our favorites and more, hey, let's figure out what they're going to do. But I think we should wrap up this section of figure guessing for right now, at least.
Yep.
Did you have any news or Ranger-related things you wanted to discuss or that you heard?
Yes. So
Okay.
I had one confirmed and one I'm pretty sure is true, but I didn't do research before today, so we
Okay.
can talk about it after. So the one thing that's Ranger related is there's a separate podcast I follow called Jamcast. You can also watch it on YouTube. It's from the Joining All Movement gym in Southern California. A lot of prevalent actors and stuntmen train there, and Travis Wong is the one who heads it. He's a really cool guy. He has different actors and stuntmen and people he's worked with throughout the years on it. And I didn't know until I watched that he has been friends with Yoshi Sudarso for a long time.
Oh.
So Yoshi Sudarso, for those of you who don't know, is Dino Charge Blue. He played Coda. And they actually would have friendly competitions between themselves over the years going for acting gigs because they would see each other on different call sheets all the time and be like, oh, you, and text. And that's actually how Travis met Peter Sudarso, who is Ninja Steel Blue. Was fun little fact I learned from the cast is that Yoshi couldn't make an audition that he signed up for one day, so Peter went in his place, and it was his first acting gig, and it got him into acting.
That's really cool.
Highly recommend. It's about an hour and a half, but really cool.
If you send me a link, I'll put it in the show notes, or you could share it on the Facebook page. So that
I will share it on the Facebook page.
And here's a link to the Facebook page for those that need it.
Just a note on there, language is kind of here and there. So if foul language offends you, maybe don't watch it. But if you're okay with that, there are a lot of cool stories and facts in there, especially about Ranger stuff.
Nice.
And then the stuff that I don't have 100% confirmed, but I saw on Facebook today, is that there will be a Boom Comics exclusive cover for Comic-Con supposedly, and it's of what you call it?
Hyperforce?
Beast Morphers Orange, which I know what you're thinking is not a character on the show, but supposedly from what I read in the comments is a original character / design from a Make-A-Wish kid.
Oh,
and
cool.
Supposedly this will raise money for it. So
that's awesome.
I want it because it's Power Rangers related. I want it because it's the comic and it's holding the helmet.
I think I've seen that, yeah.
Obviously, if it helps a good cause, even for it more so. So I need to confirm 100%, but if all of that is true, I will be doing what I can to get one of those next week. For sure.
Same. I'm looking it up right now. I don't know if I'll be able to find it in time either, but I think I could find an image. Yeah, I did see an image, so I'm just going to grab that real quick so everyone could see. Let me go back to the show. I'll just throw it on top of all this. It does, yeah, it is definitely in that same style. There it is. And let me see, cover art variant. Yeah, it doesn't.
Number 40.
Yeah, I don't have time to look up for if it's for charity either. If it is, that's even better. I mean, it's still kind of a cool thing anyway. But if you're right that it was made up by a kid, then it makes even more sense that it would go to Make-A-Wish. So
yeah,
I'll tell you what. If that's true, the whole charity and everything, let's get an extra one and do a giveaway.
I was thinking that. Yeah. I didn't want to overcommit just because I haven't been to Comic-Con in a long time. And I don't know how difficult this will be.
Don't hold us to it. But if it is indeed for charity, and if we can get an extra one, we'll do a giveaway when we get back. But we might not be able to. So, but that is the cover that we're talking about right there.
Yep.
So okay, that's pretty cool. And yeah, like I said,
those are my pieces that I got.
Those are your pieces. All right. Well, let me see. I guess one thing, it's sort of a self-serve. Let me clear this off here real quick. I've had this up here too long. I've had it up too long. goodbye you and goodbye you. This is a little bit self-serving, and if you're on the Facebook page, you've already seen it. But I have an Etsy store, Gazbot on Etsy, and I sell a lot of my Ranger art there. And I recently put up some new prints. These are prints I've been selling at shows, but only just recently got up on my store. So I have the full Turbo team, but I also have blue and green separately. White Wild Force, I was saying I really like that design, and then Bulk in his sort of superhero outfit. And then the other ones I put up are Overdrive Mercury, Time Force Pink, which got a lot of love today, and actually got a lot. I got one Erin Cahill, so hopefully I think she liked it. I didn't actually get to meet her. It was Jason Font's wife got one from me to give to her. So, and then Beast Morpher Red and Scrozzle. So these are all now available on my Etsy store, along with like 30,000 others. So that's that. The other, well, actually, I'll just leave that up while I talk. The other news, which is less self-serving, was the big news in Power Rangers, like in general today, or not today, this week, was that what's his? I gotta look up his name. Brian Casentini. I think that's how you say it. He is stepping down. He was a high muckety muck in Power Rangers recently. I think he may have started with Samurai, like in the Neo Saban era, and he did work on many of those series as well as the movie that came out recently. So depending on your take on that, people have mixed feelings about this more recent things. Some people are like, good, get him out of here. Other people are like, oh no, we'll miss him. But really, I think it has less to do with who he is and how he did versus he was Saban and now this is Hasbro. And this has been a transitional season like Wild Force was between Saban and Disney. And now that they're kind of done filming and moving on to, post-production and doing the next season, they're probably just moving in their own people. So whatever you thought of him, I seriously doubt he was fired because he did a bad job. I think it's just they're moving to the next people.
Just how it goes, yeah.
Yeah. One thing he did say in an interview I saw when he was talking about this is he was very into the idea of having serialized stories as opposed to episodic, ongoing stories, which is something that I think a lot of us older fans especially want. But again, I go back to like the idea that kids can't follow, but I remember as a kid following things that were serialized as well and wanting to see what would happen. Yeah, but we're even looking at like Dragon Ball Z. Kids watch Dragon Ball Z. That's the definition of serialized. So, but he did whatever you think of what he did. He fought to have things be more serialized. Sometimes with limited success, and they said kind of Beast Morphers was sort of the balance they sort of struck between episodic and serialized. And most people are liking Beast Morphers, so maybe that was him getting a little more freedom. He's gone now, but hopefully whoever comes in after him will kind of do that or maybe even do it more. So while I bear him no ill will, I am interested to see what happens with the new creative people in top. I actually forget what his exact job was. I forget if it was showrunner or executive producer. It was some high muckety muck. I kind of forget the exact title. But
I think it was executive producer because I think the showrunner was or still is Chip Lynn.
Okay, and I like Chip Lynn too, so that seemed odd to me that it was weird because I always knew Chip Lynn's name. Well, not always, but that's the only name I knew. So when I heard this guy's name, I'm like, who is that? So I actually had to do research to find out who he was. No offense to him or anything, but
I completely forgot about that because that was earlier in the week, right?
Yeah, but I figured it was a big enough deal that it was worth mentioning. That was the only two pieces of news I had, that you could get more prints on my Etsy store, and and that guy stepped down. Was fired. I think he stepped down, but we know.
Kind of the mutual thing.
Yeah.
What I was going to say, first of all, hi,
yes.
Connor Wood, too.
Hello, Connor Wood, too.
Second, I forgot that there is a limited physical run of the Power Rangers Battle for the Grid fighting game.
Oh, yeah, I heard about that.
And it's one that's tough for me because I want the game, but also the more I read the comics or comments, the more they were like, I don't really know. So
about how good the game is?
If it was worth it, just because.
Uh-oh. Whoops. I just made a mistake. Sorry about that, everybody.
It's not existing.
I tried to look up the thing you're talking about so I could show a picture.
Got rid of me.
Yeah. So sorry about that. I think it's more important that we see you than see the box art, probably.
All good. Yeah, it's all good. So for those that care, that is coming out. I personally am probably not getting it. Right. But on the other hand, because it's limited, would that make it a semi-collector's item? Who knows? But
I'm not going to get it because even if I get the game, I don't need another box on my shelf. I need more figures on my shelf, not more boxes. And real quick, addressing chat, Connor Wood was looking for the Discord. Technically, that is the Discord I and Airzuki use, although I almost never go on there. So feel free to join it, but if you want to actually be involved, the Facebook page is much better, or comments on the YouTube. And Twitter, almost anything. I'm not good at Discord. I'm sorry. Maybe one day, if we get somebody that's a super fan that wants to run the Discord, then it'll be a thing. But yeah, right now I'm a Discord noob.
Speaking of YouTube, I know you had
Mhm.
pushed for getting 1,000 subscribers on your
Yes.
YouTube channel. What's the current count?
Well, thanks for asking. I am a failure. I did not
You're
get to
not
1,000.
a failure.
I think we're just under 800.
Okay.
So there was a big bump. So thank you for everybody that subscribed and shared. I'd appreciate it if you keep doing it. For those that don't know, YouTube a while back changed it so that you can't receive any revenue whatsoever until you get 1,000 subscribers. So even though I have videos, some of which have thousands of views, and I have, like where I couldn't, and you don't make a lot of money, you get a dollar or two, but I used to get a dollar or two, and now until I get back up to 1,000, I can't collect anything. So if anybody wanted to help out and share it or sub, even if you don't think you're going to watch it, the sub helps. I rebroadcast these on Monday, which on Tuesday rather. We record on Monday, rebroadcast on Tuesday. There's also art videos and my trip to Japan and a lot of convention stuff, and like there's like hundreds and hundreds of videos on there, and tens of them are about Power Rangers. So no, thanks for asking, but yeah, I've not hit my goal, but I got close to 100 new people in the last week or two, so that's pretty cool.
Nice.
I'm not complaining.
Well, the other thing too to kind of tie into that is I know in about a week and a half you and I are going to be at San Diego Comic-Con.
Correct.
And obviously, there's going to be a lot of Ranger stuff. Hasbro always has a big presence there.
Mhm.
To kind of the action activators.
Yes.
Are there any potential kind of short clips of Ranger related updates in news when we are down there?
That's a good question, and you can answer it live here. You could put it on the comments under the video on YouTube or on the Facebook page. And we're going to be trying to get everything. I'm exhibiting at the small press table selling my art, so I will have a lot less mobility. The Bigdawg will be moving around more. So we'll both try to do our best, but if really he's going to be your man about town, you know what I mean? I'm going to hope people walk by my table. But we're definitely going to put up something, kind of recap when we get back, because I think we're going to have an episode, I believe, like the next day. So we'll probably show up and be exhausted and be like, "Hey, everybody, we did Comic-Con."
What I will say, because we are driving back on the Monday when we.
Oh, that's true. So we might be a day late on that one then.
Yeah, just to give you all a heads up, planning purposes, whatever. We are driving from San Diego to pretty much San Francisco, California. It is a long drive.
For those that don't know, because I used to live on the East Coast, and all my New Jersey family thinks that I visit my cousin all the time who lives in Southern California, and I have to explain, California is gigantic. It's like, if you're an East Coast person, it's like going from New Jersey down to like Virginia or something. It's like, several states worth of smaller states. It's like 6 to 8 hours of driving minimum, so, but yeah, that's for the future. We're going to go. We'll try to get some stuff. If you have any requests, give us your requests. And then when we get back, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we will have a show where we will recap as best we can and talk about what happened. Who knows? Maybe we get some new call-outs for the beginning. I'm running low, to be honest. I only got a few left. I like to do them at shows. If we get Ranger-related actors, that's even better. But just even cosplayers or people around, like, whatever. So I think I have like 3 more banked, and then I'm going to be out. So it's good that we're going to recharge.
Yep.
But we are almost at an hour and a half, so I think we should call it. If anybody had any final questions, throw them out now. Otherwise, we'll say thank you for joining us live. Thank you for the chat. Thank you for the new subscribers and followers. Thank you for watching it later. I am the Gazbot Knight.
I am the Bigdawg Defender.
And we're asking you to wear your seatbelt. And
when you're thinking about action activating, just always do it to the power.
To the power. All right, I'm going to put the credits on.
See you guys later.
Bye, everybody.